if you want to work with database, first you have to download this MySQL, right? So this is the link. So I will share this link. So I think I have already here. I have it here. So this is the link to download database. So I will download from this link. So here you will find two versions. So you have to download this one. So this will have all the feature 405.2. So click this. So once you will click this, so you can, instead of click on login, you can just click this. So it will start download, right? So it is 405 MB. So I am already having it in my machine. So I will not download it again. So once you will download the setup, open the setup. So what are the windows you are going to get? Once you will launch the setup, you will get first screen like this, right? So do not change anything here, and you have to click on next. So once you will click on next, you will get this window, right? So again, this time click on execute. So this will download all the necessary softwares one by one. So click on execute and click on next after that. Once you will click, it will download all the necessary, you can say, files and the folder, whatever the software it requires, it will download. And after that you will come on this page here. So by default it is taking one port number, which is 3306. So basically this port number is used to send our query to the database, right? So by default it is 3306. So I will suggest you do not change anything here and just click on next. So this is our port number 3306. So we require this port number so that we can connect to our database. So by default 3306. So click on next, and once you will click on next, you will land on this page again. By default it will select do not change anything here and click on next. Once you will click on next, you will land on this page. Now this is important. So it is asking for some password. So make sure that whatever the password you will write here, you will remember that. Otherwise if you forgot that, it is very hard to reset the password and you have to download it again, right, after uninstalling it. So whatever the password you will set, right, so you can set the password here, and after that click on next. So once you will set the password and click on next, you will land on this page. And again, do not change anything here. Again click on next, and once you will click, it will download, it will apply some configuration one by one, and after that it will come to this page, right? So here by default username is root. You can use any other username as well. So I suggest you to do not change this username and enter the password which you have set, and you have to click on check. If it is getting, if you are getting this green tick, which means everything is successfully done. Otherwise if you see some cross mark here, which means you have made some mistake in the installation. So click on check, you will see this green tick, and after that again click on next. So once you will click on next, finally this is, again it is configuring some steps, and after that click on execute, and after that you will see last window. So here this is how you have to done the installation part. So I will share this file with you all so that you can see what are the windows you will get. And once you will install that, so installation part is clear to everyone.
Yes.
Okay, so once you will, so here till this point installation will be done. So once the installation is done, if you if you write here MySQL, so you will get this workbench. So it is just like an editor where we can manage and work with our database. So once when you will open this for the first time, you will get this window, and you will get this, by default you will get this, right? So here you will, if you want to open this, how you can open, click this. Okay, so it is not asking me for the username and password. If I open it again. Okay, so when you will do it for the first time, by default username is root, right? And inside that, if I write my password, whatever the password I have defined when I have done installation, I will write the password here, and after then click on OK. So inside this workbench, you will find some database like this. So these three are the by default. These two I have created, right? So first of all, if you want to have some data, then only we can connect our database with test case. So here what we will do, here I have created one database. So if you want to create some other database, like you can create uh, data is my database. So once you will execute this query, right, so here we will not going to see entire course on database, just whatever is required we will see. So first we will create the database. So once I will execute this command, okay, I don't know what it is, so I think ignore it because database is created. Okay, so it is, so this is executed successfully and it is hanged as well. So okay, so why, I don't know how it closed. Let me open it again. MySQL workbench. So again it is open, and if I open this root, whatever be the password we have defined, and here we are again. So you can see this data we have created, right? So inside that data, if you see, as of now there are no tables, right? So we want some data like this. So first of all, I will say I want to use this database. So let me say this. So this command will be, if you do not use this command, then you will not be able to create the table. So first of all, you have to tell that I want to use this database. So my database name is data, right? So query executed successfully. Now if you execute this command, basically what it is, this command will help you, this SQL query will help you to create the table. So let me create one login table which is having column name as user, email and password. Three columns it will have, and inside that this is variable character, which means username can have variables as well, characters as well, and the maximum length is 20. Likewise, email, for that this is one data type I am defining for email. The email can have variable as well as character, and the maximum length is 20. Likewise for password. So once I will execute this, select this line, entire line, and click on this. So it has created the table. You can see green text, which means it has created the table, right? And after that, as of now, if I select this and hit this, you will not see any data here, right? Because we have not inserted any data into our table, which is login. So by default, no data is coming. So if you want to insert into the table, you have to execute this command. So it is saying that insert into login table. So this is our table name, and I am inserting the values like this. So this is our, what is our first field, username. So username will be entered here in this row, and here after that email, and then password. So if I just run this single line, it will insert some value into my table. So if you want to see it again, select this, select star from login, which means select all the data from our login table. So first data came like this, right? And if I select all the three at a time and execute this, now it is inserted and we can see the data. So basically I am creating this data. So I am assuming that this data, whatever I have created, client has provided me this data, right? And I want to use this data only in my table, only in my test case, right? So I cannot use some other email because client has provided me this data into the database, right? So just assume that client has provided this. So this part is clear to everyone, how we can create some data into our table.
Yes. Yes.
Right, so you can also create, if you want some other fields, you can write username, password, first name, last name. So as of now, let us go with this one. So once I will create the table, now my intention is to get this data from our, from the database to our test case. So how we can do that? So for that you have to use one, again, dependency you have to use. So let us first get that dependency from the Maven repository. So if I type this, so as we are working with MySQL, so there is one dependency which is MySQL connector. Java. If I run this, search this, so this is the one we require, and you can go with the latest one, right? So I will copy this. So we will require this all the jar files from this one, so that we can. So I think I am already having it in my machine. Anyways, if I paste it, let me. So this is, I am already having this. So if you paste it again, right? So I have pasted it and save it. So it will download some jar files which we require, so that we can connect our test case with database. So here I am having one database package. Here if I talk about this JDBC connection, right? So I have created one class, and inside that I have to write my all the code so that I can get that data from database. So let us see how we can do that. So we injected the dependency from this in this pom.xml file. Now whatever the classes we require, we can use here. So the very first step is we have to create one connection object. So how we can create? So let me copy this. So I am copying this entire line, because if I sometimes, even if you write it, you will get some error. So let me copy it directly and let me explain what it is. So I have copied this. So as I am working on my local machine, so it is nothing but localhost, right? So here let me define one host, which is, I'm telling that this is my local machine, so it is localhost. So you have to define this. And the second one is, if you remember, we set one port. So the port number is 3306 when we done the setup part. So this is our port. So this port will basically help us to connect our database with Selenium. So it is host, right? So here, once I have copied this line, so let me import the package. So this import is coming from, so we are working with java.sql, not these two. So do not import these two, import this java.sql, import the package, and here as well. So error is still there, yeah, error gone. And here import this one. So once you will get this, add those declaration. So okay, so what it is, so as we are working with, right, so here basically we are using JDBC to connect Java database connection, right? So we are using this JDBC MySQL. So this is what I am telling, and here if you see, this is my host. So the host is coming from this. So you can localhost it is. So you can first I have created one variable, and that value will come here when I will run my program. So this is how you have to provide after double quotes at concatenation operator. After that you have to provide like this, then this in the double quotes, and this is our port number. So if you see what is our port number is 3306. So that port number will come here when I will run my program. And what is this value? So this is nothing but our table name. So if you see what is our table name here, if we are working on, sorry, not table name, it is our database name. So if I write data here, what is our database name is data. So you can give any name. So here you have to write your database name. So my database name is data. So instead of this one, I will write data. And after that, these two, this is my username and this is my password, right? So hope you remember, when I am opening this, I am writing one password here. So that password you have to, the same password you have to write here, so that it can connect, right? So this is my password and it is my username. My database name is data. This is my port number, host name, and this is, we are using MySQL. So this you have to provide. So now once you will use, this is a class and this is a one static method, right? So in this method, when you will create, it will return you one connection object, right? So this connection object now will help you to get the data from the database, right? So this first you have to do. So this part is clear to everyone?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So as this is, it will return you one object. This will return you one object. So I am catching it here in this variable, and when I will say, so before that I have to create one statement. So what is that statement? If I write, this is my object name dot create. So creates a statement object for sending SQL statement, which means we have to write one query so that we can get the data, and I can catch that in one variable. So statement s. So import the package if it is throwing error. So you can import this again. So when it is, so we have to working with this one, right? So go with fourth one, java.sql, right? Now this s, whatever it is, this is our object. Now this will help you to create one query. So if I talk about, if I want to get all the data, suppose if I want to get all the data, so this is one query I am writing here. So if I execute this one, that will give me, okay, so first select this. Now if you execute this, it will give you all the data. So this is the whole data we got if we run this query, right? So here similar, if I copy this query from here, so let me first write that in one variable. So string, what is our query? First I want to display all the data, so I am writing in double quotes. So this is our, okay. Now this query you have to pass into one method of this. How you can pass? S dot. Now once we created our query, I want to execute my query. This will give you one command which is execute. I think it is execute query, right? Inside that you have to pass this. So once it will execute the query, right? So once it will execute the query, this query it will execute. It will give you one result. So you can catch that result into one result set. Result set result. So here in this variable, whatever the output this will give you from the database, you can catch that in this result variable. So first of all, let us run till this part only whether we are getting correct or not. Otherwise, we will see. So as of now, it will not print anything. I want to check whether these lines are not throwing any error. So okay, so terminated, program is terminated, which means we are going correct. So first of all, after
So
this line,
result set is the return type.
which one?
Result set.
See, you can see it is the return type. So I am using this. I think it is written here. So yeah, it is the return type. That's why I am catching that in my variable. It is actually return you returns a single result set object. So this is going to be return type. Okay.
Sumit, can you explain line number 18 again, please?
See, basically, if you want to, why we are doing this string query, because we
Uh,
have to
18.
get this whole data. So before that, if you want to use this query, first you have to create the object of this create state. Sorry, first of all, you have to execute this one method which is coming from this. So what is this? It is create. It will create a statement object. So statement object we are catching here. So it will create a statement object for sending SQL statement, which means this query, if you want to send, first you have to create this object, and this object will give you one method. Here you can pass this query. So this is how they have created. And if I SQL statements without parameter, right? So this is important for us that it will simply return me one statement object. So that with the help of this object, I can call this method execute query and place my query here, right? Okay.
Okay.
If you want to do like this, you can also do like this, but it is not a better way. So you can also do like this, but let us insert that into one variable, then we can py, so it will look little bit clean. So I will
Okay.
also show you in debug mode once we will complete this. Okay, so here is my result. So if I want to print all the results, I will use one while loop. and if I write result dot next, so let me explain you what it will do, and inside that what we have to print. So if I want to first print username, so how you can get string username, and I think second one is email and password. Username string email and third one is password. So three variables I have created, and after that I will print all the. So if I write system.out.println, so let me first write complete these steps. So here how you can get the username. So this, once you will execute this query will be executed with the help of this method, execute the query. If you see, executes the given SQL statement which returns a single result set object. So this object you got, right, result set object, this will have all the data. Which data it will have? This whole table data, username, email and password, and all the Sumit, Ankit, Pankaj and Vandan, right? So all the data it will have. So how you can get, if you want to get the username, so how you can write, you can say uh, result, it will have all the data dot get string, and here you can say I want to get the username, so I will write. So let us see what is the, how it is written, capital U, right? So it will give you username. So first student data it will give, and what is the second one? Second one is result. So I am writing the column name dot get string. What is the second one? Email and password. So email is our column name, and third one is result dot password, right? Third one is this one. So after that, if I try to print, let us see first whether it is printing, then I will explain how this while loop is working and what this step is doing. So first let us see. So I will print username. So let me not change the line here. So after that I will provide some space, and second one is email. Second one is email. Provide some space so the output will look little bit clean. And after that, third one is password. Right. So let me not change the line here. After that I will change. So if I just run it, let us see first output is getting, we are getting the all the data or not. So it has got all the data. You can see order is also same, Sumit, Ankit, Pankaj, Vandan, email and password. So you see, right? So this is how you can get the data. So let us see first in debug mode how all this code is working. So let us see once more in debug mode. So if I save it again and put one debugger, okay, and if I right click debug as, so let me start from here, debug as Java application. Okay, so this is our connection object it has created, so it will look like this. So do not worry about all these, we know that it is our connection object and it will create the statement. So it is our statement object. So this is how it will look, right? After that, this is our query. So this whatever the method is, this will simply execute our this query, right? So select star from login. Star means all the data. So it will select, it will connect with the database, because connection we have already done here, and after that it will give you all the result. So I think here somewhere you can try expanding it. So somewhere in this your data is present, right? So what is this dot next? So it will simply, if you see here, result dot next, basically here we have all the data, and this dot next method will actually move to first row, and it will also return you true, because data is present. So it will return you true, and it will also move to your first row, this one, right? So once it will move, and it will also return true, right? So you can come inside, and after that I am saying from this result one, as of now this result object is in our first row, result object is in our first row, because I am using dot next, right? So I am saying from this first row, get me the username column data. So what is the username at first row? This is Sumit. So it will give you username. So username is Sumit, right? And after that, I am saying from this column, email column of the first row, get me the data of email. So it will give you this data first time. So which is whatever with the email. So email is this one, right? So, and third one is password, right? So it will give you these three from the third column, and after that I'm simply printing that Sumit password, and Sumit username and password, right? So first row data is done, and again we will execute our while loop. So again this dot next method will execute. So what will happen? This result object now will point to your second row, and it will also return true, because you have one data, right? So it is now pointing to our second row. Now condition become again condition will be true, we will come inside. Now it is saying from the second row, I am on the second row, it is saying I am on the second row, and if you want to get the data from the username column of the second row, you can provide like this. So I am saying username, so Ankit is second row username, right? And after that I am saying give me the email of second row, so email password like this, Ankit Gmail, and third one is password. Again for the third one, condition true, it will print, and last one. So once this will execute 4 times, our result object is here, right? For the fourth time, once it execute, but again when rs.next will execute, when this will execute, you do not have any more data, right? After 4 rows you do not have any more data, so now this will return you false, right? So condition will become false and will come outside. So this is how it will work. Likewise, if you have more data, you can play around, right? So if you have more rows, you can also get the data. So this is how it will work. So this part is clear to everyone how this program is working.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So just suppose here I
So
am
if
getting all the data, but every
hello,
time you do not have to get all the data, right? So I
yeah,
want to suppose get the data of this person. I want to get the data of Pankaj only. How we can do this? We have to understand. So instead of this one, if I write where, so let me create one. Let me do one thing. I will create one class, so that let me not directly run this class. I will create one separate class, which is this one. So inside this class, what I will write here, I will send the name. Suppose user will enter Sumit, so he should get the data of Sumit. So string, I will say name, or let me say user enter. So I will provide some name here, right? As of now, let me put it blank, and let me use public static void main as well. Otherwise, we will not. So I will run this test case, and automatically this class will give me the data. So then it will some make sense. So I will provide main method. So here I will provide some dummy data after once I will write. Okay, so if I write, here it is, this one. If I write like this, where, so I am using one clause which is where clause, so that I will get the data of particular student, right? So where I will say username equals to where username is. If I say this is our username, I want to get the data of that person only which is having this username. So let us see whether we are getting this data only or not. So it is throwing the error, so let me put one more. Okay, so it is a string. Here username equals to like this, right? So this is our query. If I execute the same query here, just if I execute the same query here, let us see whether it is getting the required person data or not. Here in the database, first let me check. Instead of this one, if I say only this, so where, and after that semicolon, and if I execute this line, only this one, somewhere select a star from select you can say, I think it is star only. Here let us execute again. Unknown column Pankaj. Okay, so I think here username equals to where on this. Okay, now it has given, right? So this is basically how you have to write. So if I write Sumit here, this will give me the data of only particular person, right? Where username is Sumit. I write Sumit, right? So basically sometimes I want to get the data of only particular person, not all the data. So if I run this query, if I get the query, copy this, and if I run the same query, here, let us see whether it is working correctly or not. So we have to remove this. Let us check as of now this one. So if I just execute this till this point, how it will come? Again, we started in debug mode. So we are here. As of now, we are here. If you see this, it is coming like this, right? So if I try to execute this, it will fail. I think it will fail. So it is come to some other point, and it will throw the exception, right? So basically, you do not have to write like this, right? So it is not able to identify because it has to get some double quotes. If I write this like this, suppose if I write where it is test case JDBC connection here. So inside that, what I have to do, if I write, suppose if I place this, and if I run it again, I run it again, this time I think it will work. So basically it is expecting one single quote. If you want to get the particular data, you have to provide single commas like this before and after your username. So let us see whether this time it will work or not. So this time it has worked. So this time you will only going to get the data of Sumit, right? So if you want to get the data of Sumit, this time again you have one data, so it will get Sumit. This time it should get Sumit, email and password, right? But this time again, if this will execute, it will not find any more data and we will come out. So this is how you can do, right? So instead of updating this here every time, like if I want to get the name of Pankaj, where username is Pankaj, so every time instead of getting the name here, we will send the name from this test case, right? So automatically this will update here. So if I run this time only Pankaj data will come. So Pankaj data should only come, right? Because we are clearly telling select all the data from the table where username should be only this, right? So instead of updating the name here, I will create one method for that. So if I write, instead of doing this one, creating this, I will create one method so that we can update the name. So instead of this, I can say inside that class only, I will make one method public void get the detail, and here I will pass my name, so string name, right? So name will come from this, and here I will provide like this. So this is now a method. So add throws declaration, you can do like this. So error gone. Okay, so now this is a method, and from this test case one here, from this test case, from this point, I will send the name. Suppose I will send the name Sumit, right? So automatically name will come here, and name will come here as well, right? So this is how we have to do some changes so that every time we do not have to modify in our main code. Everything will be updated from this only. So to first of all, I have to create the object of this class so that I can use this method, right? So create the object of this class inside this. So if I create the object of this class, you can say any name. Please put yourself in here. So now I have created the object, right? So once I will, or let me say JD. So once I create the object, you can call this method because you have created the object of this class. How you can call? This is our method name, JD dot. This is our method name. Here you can provide this name. If I provide this name here, so I will. Okay, so once I have provided the name, so add throws declaration here as well, right? So once I provide the name, these three lines will execute. This method will be called. Now whatever the name you have entered will fall here, right? So I can write like this. If you see, if I instead of writing like this, where username equals to plus name. So right, so now this is a string, this whole it is a string, and this is basically my name, what will come here, right? So at the runtime this is how we have created one method. So I can, so let us see whether first it is working or not. So let me put a debugger, so that we can see. Now I will only run my test case from here, and let me also, once we will get the data from here, let me create one array list, right? So let me use one. Why we are creating the array list, let me tell you, or let us first see whether it is working, then we will create array list. So if I right click, debug as Java application, Now after these two will execute, Sumit will come here and Sumit will also come here, right? So this method will execute and we should stop here because I have put one debugger. So we came here, right? So what is the name? Sumit, right? So these three lines will execute, connection object will be created, and if you come down, what is the query, right? If you see that we got one error and I placed one single quote before and after the name, but single quote is not present before and after my name, so this will again fail, right? So again it will fail because it is expecting this. This is how it is expecting two single commas before and after the name. So we can do some modification here only. So when I will send the name, when I will send my name, I can say string updated name. So I will place single quotes before and after this name. How we can do? We can write like this in double quotes. I will provide single quotation like this, and what is our user enter? This is our name. That will come here, and after it I will place one more comma. So if I do like this, if I say plus, so if you see what is the name this time, if I debug this, now we are here, right? So as of now, what is our name? Sumit, only Sumit. But I want, because I'm getting one error, it is saying that I want to get single quotes before and after the name. So this is I have modified, and now this time if you see single quotes before and after the name, right? So this will do our work, and if I run this again, Sumit will go in this, it will stop here. So it is taking some time, so let us wait. So now we are here, right? So this time what is the, it will again create, and this time what is the name? Name is this. Okay, so single quotation is okay. So again you are getting this. Why you are getting this? Because I have not updated the name. So instead of this one, instead of sending the user enter, I will send my updated name, so that it will get updated name which we are sending. And if I run it, if I run it again, we will land on this page, on this code. So it should stop here. So now we are here, and if I execute this time, what is the name? This time with single commas before and after the name. So now this will be our exact query. Select star from the login where username equals to this. So it is expecting single quotes. I have put one single quote, and if I run this time, it should give me the correct result. So now result it got, and only one result it is going to get, which is Sumit. So belonging to Sumit username, Sumit, this one, this one. After that, as we are having only one data, our while loop will terminate, right? So now if I want some other name in future, I will simply change the user enter. So if I want the details of any other person based on the username, I will write Pankaj. So terminate this. As we are in debug mode, so I have terminated. So if I simply run this, now it will automatically give the right. So Pankaj. Likewise, if I say Vandan, so just you have to update this here, and automatically it will give. So we are not changing our code, which is database code. Just everything will be done from here only. So now data of this person came. So this part is clear to everyone how we are creating separate class for this.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so basically as of now I am printing it here, right? Suppose if I want to use my data here, so let us get the data from here to my actual test case. Instead of printing here, let me not print this, let me not print here. What I will do, let me first create one array list. So here itself I will create one array list. So why we are creating, you will get to know in a short while. So it is of type string. Let me say al is a list is my object name equals to new. So I am using one collection concept here. So I will store all my data into the array list. So import the package, it will throw error otherwise. Java.utility. So now instead of getting the username, what I will do, I will say I will store every data here. A list dot add name. So username will be added into our array list. Likewise, if I talk about the other one, email. So whatever the data you will get, you will store that into your array list. So I will store email. And third one is this one. Sorry. So third one is a list dot add. It is password. So now password is also added. So let me put debugger. Then we can see how it is adding. So once it will add all the data, I will return my array list. So I will say return this array list. So it will throw one error. So it is saying that return type of the method should be array list. Now our method return type is this, right? And once I will call this method, I will call this method from here. Once I am calling this method, it will again give me one array list. So I will say array list of type string data. So I will catch the data here. And let me again put debugger so that we can get better understanding. So how it will work actually, if you see. So let me put debugger here as well. So if I debug it, again this object is created calling the method with the updated name. This time this is our name, whatever the user will enter. Now we will come here. So basically it is the return type, because I am sending one, I am returning one array list. So I have changed the return type. So it is taking some time to, okay, so it came. Now it is our array list. If you see, as of now no data is present inside our array list, right? But once I come here, so it will give me the details of person having the name Vandan. All the details you will get. Now condition true. Now whatever the username you will get, you are storing that into your array list. So you see, as of now no data. Once I execute this, username will be entered. So Vandan is present inside our array list, right? Likewise this email. Now email is also present inside our array list. So likewise this. So password is also present, right? So this is our array list. It will have all the data of particular person. And now I am at the end. So again condition will become false because no more data, only one person. Now I am returning this array list, right? I am returning all the data. So once you will return, right? So which method will be called? Now once I have called this will simply return me one array list, right? So it will return me one array list having that all the data. So if it is returning me one array list, if I want to catch the data, I have to make the variable of array list type only, because I'm getting array list. Now if I execute this, it has returned me the data, and that data array list of data will fall here. So this is how it will work, right? And now once I get the data here, I want to write my test case. Now I can use this data uh, just like I want to use, right? So this is how. So you can also do like this, data dot, I think there is get. If I want to get the username, first data I can say like this, string username. I will print the username. What is the second one? So this is array list object. I want to get the second value, data dot get of 1. So I will get the second value, and here I will write a string. I think it is email. Second value is email, so I will print email. So let us first print whether it is printing or not. So here this time all the whatever you are printing will come from here only. So if I run this, right, so email we have printed, name we have printed, so one more, which is this one, I think password. So you can print that password, data of get of 2. So this is basically we are getting all the data, right? And if client will make any changes in this database, right, so every time we are going to get the updated value. So this is how we can connect our test case with database, right? So if you want to, suppose if I want to execute one line, like suppose if I say WebDriver dot Chrome WebDriver manager dot Chrome driver dot setup. So this will take care of my Chrome browser. And if after that I will say driver equals to new Chrome driver, right? And instead of this, let me import the package and let me open one website so that we can see how we can send the data. If I say Amazon login, so if I click this, so this is our, here you have to pass your email, right? So what we can do, instead of providing the hard coded value, this time we are going to get the email from our database. And how we can send that is very simple. So first I will open the website. So website will open like this. This is the complete URL. And after that, first let me write the locator for our dot send keys. Right. So what is the locator for this text box? Then only it will enter. So if I see input type equals to email, that looks, I think it is unique input at the rate type email. So I have written one relative XPath, copy the relative XPath, it is unique, 1 out of 1 element, and here I will say XPath. Now here in the send keys I have to send the email. So earlier we used to write the email here only, but now I am going to get the email from this database. So if I just run this program, first it will get the data, get the email and the username, invoke the Chrome browser, and then send my email. So these are the warnings you can ignore. So you can see email came, right? Likewise, suppose if you will just say, if you want to work with some other user, I want to work with Pankaj. So if I just provide Pankaj here, automatically it will get the Pankaj email. So if I write Pankaj, this time it will enter the email ID of Pankaj. Let me close this. So Pankaj email should come here, right? So likewise for all the users you can work. And suppose the client in future client will change the data here, right? So if I suppose, let me see, suppose if the client will change the data, I mean to say, suppose if I see what is the data here, if I execute this, where it is here. So can I change this like this, or I have to enter the query? So let us do one thing. If client will change the detail, so you can okay. So let me do one thing. Just assume that client is changing some detail. So let me first do one thing, draw table. So this will basically delete the table. If I execute this table will be deleted. So is the action complete? So this is complete. So just assume that client has updated some data. Suppose client will say 998. Email ID will change of all the user. So now you do not have to every time ask to the client every time you are going to get the updated value. So you do not have to worry, right? Otherwise, every time when the value will change, you have to ask the client that why the value is changing. Client will change here, and you will going to get the updated value. So if I just execute this, so is the action complete? Okay. So okay, so let me first create the table. Actually, I have not created this table because I have deleted the table. So first let's create the table. So table created. After that, I will client has updated all the data. So data too long for email. So I think let me give some small name because the maximum length is 20. So let me give some small value. So some data is changed and client has updated the value. So this time our table data is changed by the client. So if you see, just assume client has changed the email address of all the user. So now if you run this again, you do not have to ask the client every time. You will going to get the updated value, right? So if I talk about Pankaj, so this time Pankaj value, what is the Pankaj email? Pankaj email is Pankaj Panka 5, whatever it is. So PANKA. So it is still getting the same value. How it is getting the same? Okay, so this is our new browser. Now it should send the updated value, right? So every time client will change, like suppose this is our login username. If the login username will change, every time you will get the updated value. So you do not have to worry. Once you will add the code, if the client will change the data here, you will get the updated value. So this is how we can work with the database. So is it clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you can try this, right? So I will share this code how you can create the table. So you can write some other tables, like you can create here. I have created one table. If you see, so here I have created the table having username, email, and password. So you can create the table, your own table, and after that you can practice. So we will see how we can connect our database when we will work with framework. So there I will simply copy paste this code here because we have already seen this. So I think database is clear to everyone. Then we will see one small topic. Is it clear to everyone?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, so let us see one small topic, which is assertion in Selenium. So what are assertions? So if I write the definition,
Assertion is nothing but the comparison of expected value and actual value.
sorry,
It is nothing but the comparison of expected value and
yeah.
actual value.
So why we use assertion? Because let me first write the definition. So assertion is basically we compare, in the assertion we compare expected result with the actual one. So basically it means we are doing one verification. We are doing one verification to check if our application is working correct or not. So if you remember, correct or not, once before we have not discussed this assertion, right? So if I remove this code and suppose if I open one website which is Amazon, so if I copy this same code, 3 lines of code here from here, this one, and if I write it here, this same code, it will invoke the, and instead of this one I will write one XPath for this continue button. How we can write? So I want to get the text, continue text I want to get. Why we have to get? Because I want to check whether the text is correct displaying or not, right? So so here the continue text is present. So if I write span class control F, from here I want to come to span, right? So here my text is present. So once I am here, I will copy my XPath and I will paste it here. Now I have to get the text, so I will use dot get text, and it will return me one string value. So string text, and after that I will print. First let us see whether it is giving me the correct text or not. Then we will see why we have to work with assertion. So this time we should print continue. So it has printed, right? So basically why we are getting this text, because as a tester I wanted to check every time that suppose developer has written the text like this. So this is what string developer text. Just assume developer has written this text which is like this, continue, right? So I'm expecting this text every time when I will run my test case. If not, then there is some issue with our this text, right? So this should not happen, because I want the text should be like this, but somehow after some code changes the text will appear like this, continue, right? So basically if I do what I can do, I can write one if else condition. If text dot equals as it is a string, so I can use equals method and I will say this value. If both are equal, then I will say if both are equal, then not an issue. Otherwise, if both are not equal, then I will say, if I can write like this, some issue with continue text. So instead of seeing manually, I can write here no issue. So let us see what is the output we will get. This time we should see this one, so that I can come to know that there is some issue with my website. So every time, suppose if I run this test case daily, if I will not find this continue like this, then it should print this message. So website open. So this time you can see first it has printed the text, and because I am expecting the text like this, somehow text got changed to this. So it is saying that some issue with the continue text. But here you can see if we have to write one test case, it should fail immediately. It should fail instead of printing this text immediately. It should fail that some issue, right? So instead of using this, when we will develop framework, we will not use this kind of approach. we will use assertion, so that we will put one validation point, and if the validation will fail, our test case will also fail. So how we can do? So instead of like this, so if you want to use assertion, so we will basically work with test-ng. So first you have to get the test-ng. I think I am already having it from, so yesterday we already see, so that how we can get the test-ng jar file with the help of this. So you can get it. So once you will get it, if you write like here in this class, there is one method. So if I just say, so there are so many methods we will see which are very important. So if I, it is saying actual and expected. So this is the actual text. So if I write modified actual text which we are getting from website, so this is the text I am getting from the text website. So if I say actual text, and what I am expecting this, right? So expected text I will return here. If they both are equal, now it will not throw any error, right? So if I write, just see here, if you run this now, so these are the some warnings you can ignore. So now this time, if they both are not equal, it has failed our test case, right? So this is how basically things should be. If some issue is with our test case, so what is the error? Expected this, but I am getting this, right? So which means from this statement I see that my test case is also failed, and some issue, right? And if I just say, suppose how we are getting this, continue, it is where it is. If I write, so if I write this, so just suppose developer is expecting this and also getting this, so condition true. Now this will simply pass our test case, so no issue this time. And if it not match, automatically it will throw the error. So let us wait for that to finish. So this is a class, it will have one static method, right? And this method expects two argument, actual and expected. So this time terminated, so no issue because everything is same, right? This is also same, equal to continue. So I hope you get the basic idea that why we are using assertion, so that our test case will immediately fail at that point. So basically it is, assertions are used to validate if our application is working correctly or not, right? Is it clear to everyone?
Yes, sir. Yes.
So there are many methods. Let us see two more. So there is one more which is this one. So basically, if you are expecting some boolean condition like this, if I write, instead of this one, you can also write this. So basically, it is expecting true inside, right? If it will get true, then it will not throw exception. Otherwise, if it get false, now it will fail our test case. So how we can do that? If I write this actual text, if I write actual text dot equals, so if it is equal, it will return me true or false based on the verification. So I will catch that in one variable, right? Now if they both are equal, it will return true. True will come here and I will place B here, right? So this is whatever. So if I run this, and if you see in debug mode, So now our code will stop here. So if you see this one, it is this like this, and whatever we are getting from the website, this one, they both are same. So it will return me true. So once it will return me true, which means this statement will not throw any exception because condition is true inside that. So now your test case is passed. But suppose if I am expecting this, if I am expecting this text which is continue button like this, but getting continue, now it will fail, saying that so our test case is failed. If you see last line, so we come to know that at line number 35, you see line number 35, right? It is saying that I am expecting true, but I found false, which means I can conclude that there is some issue at this point. So that I will now check that what is the error, right? And if I am finding the text is different, I will report it to the developer that this is a bug, please fix it, right? So this is the reason we can use assertion. And there is one more. If I, instead of this one, there is reverse of this, which is assert dot, and it is expecting false inside, right? So basically, if it will have false inside, so you can put some condition like this and check. If it is false, it will not throw any error. If it is true, just suppose I am writing it directly true here. What is the output you will get? This time it will say expecting false inside but getting true. So it will fail your test case. So you can assume that there is some issue at this point. So let me close all these browsers. So now it is failed. It is saying that I am expecting false inside this, but somehow I am getting true. So I can conclude that there is some issue at this point, and I will check my code, right? So our test case should fail immediately when this assertion will fail. But suppose if I writing some after this line, suppose my test case is failed here, right? And if I write one line, suppose if I write important code to be executed. So just assume that after this line, I have written some 100 lines of code, and that code is very important to me. So I want that even if our test case will fail here, I want that this code should also run because it is very important code after that. So some lines of code I have written, just assume. So if I run this, let us see. So let me first say false. So if it is false, then condition will, it will not throw the exception, right? Because so this code will also executed. Let us see first. It should also print this statement after this line. So you can say test case is also passed and this important code is also executed, but somehow true come inside, which means our test case somehow will fail at this point. Let us see whether will it work or not. Our test case is failed at line number 36. At line number 36, exception came because it is expecting false but found true. But you see that whatever the important code I have written, right, I want that even if our test case will fail, I want to execute this important code at any cost, right? So I will not use this kind of assertion which is So whatever the assertions we have discussed, so which is this one, this one, this one, and this one, right? Because if I am writing like this, right? So suppose if I just do with this instead of this one, and again if I write, again it will fail. Why it will fail? Because expected and actual are not equal. So again you will see once this line will fail here, once this line will fail here, whatever the code you have written, that will not going to execute at all. So these two lines will not execute because it will fail at that point only. So if you see at line number 31, it has failed. At line number 31, it has failed here because it is expecting continue button, but from the website you got this, right? So whatever the important code you have written, that will not going to work. So these kinds of assertion are called hard assertion, right? So once if you use hard assertion like this, then whatever the important code you will write after that hard assertion. So this is basically a hard assertion. So once exception will come or error will come at this point, code will not going to execute after that. But somehow I want to execute my this code as well, even if our test case will fail. So there is one more type of assertion that TestNG will provide, which is soft assertion. So that will help you to, even if your test case will fail, then you will see this code will also execute, right? So how we can work with soft assertion, if you see, so there is one class. So let me create the class here. Soft. So let me create any name. Create the object of this class. So you have to give some other name because it is already predefined. So let me check. Now we have created the object of this class, right? So it is coming from this testng itself. So now instead of doing like this, let's suppose instead of, let me comment this, and also this is our important code that needs to be executed at any cost. And if I just comment this one as well, right? So this is our object name of this class. And now if I say assertion dot, after this I will say assertion dot assert equals, right? Here if I write the same thing, then again it will fail at this point. If you see, if I right click debug as Java application, now with the help of this object we are working with soft assertion, as this method is coming from soft assertion, so this class. So now what this soft assertion will do for you, I will again run this. Now we are here. Once the code will stop, we are here. Okay, so if you see what is our actual text, I am expecting this, but also getting this, I think. So, but getting this from the website. Sorry, this is the developer what I have written, but I am getting this from the website. So this condition will fail, right? And if I put one debug and if I execute this time, it should fail, but it will not fail here. And if I run this, it will. So basically, we are just verifying, right? We are just verifying. We are not saying that you have to fail our test. It's just verify whether it is equal or not. And now our important code will also execute, right? So if I run this, right? So important code also executed, and our, but you see, if you use soft assertion, even if our test case will fail, how I will know that my test case is failed? So what I will do, once our important code execute, I will say assert, this is our object dot assertion, I think assertion dot. So what it will do, if you see, so they are not displaying any dot. So if I actually, they are not showing any for this. Okay, anyways, what this will do, this will simply collect this assertion and throw the exception at the end. So how it will do, if I run it again. But using soft assertion, you can run your important code as well, so we get the benefit. But at the end as well, I have to fail the test case, because if it is failing at this point, it should fail. But it will fail at this point because I'm using this method. So if I run it again, so now this will fail. It is continue, but it is continue button. It will fail, but not at this point, so that we can run our important code. So important code is also executed, right? But this method will throw the exception at the last. So if you see, so let me run this now. It is saying that at line number 43. Okay, so here it is. Here it is saying that I am failing the test case at line number 43 because the following assertions are failed. So what is the expected continue button? But found this, right? So whatever the exception came, exception came here, it, as it is a soft assertion, it will not throw the error here. So once we will execute our important code, I will place this after this line. So whatever the error will come, it will display here. Likewise, if I say this one, so if I copy this, let me throw one more exception here, and here as well. If you see, I will say assertion. So it will have the many similar methods. Dot result true, right? So it is very similar to this one only. It is expecting true inside. If it is true condition, it will not throw any error. But if it is false, it should throw the error, right? But as it is a case of you can say soft assertion, it will not fail at this point. These two exceptions will be collected by this object, and now it will throw at the end. So if you want to see this time, how it will work, so debug as right. So here this will fail again, continue and continue button. So here, as it is a soft assertion, I'm using this object to call this method. It will not fail at this point, right? So it will come again. This condition will also fail because it is expecting true inside, but it is getting false somehow. So you can write one code here, so you can get this false. As of now, let me write it as of now like this only. But it will not fail here again. It is a soft assertion. So I will execute my important code, and at the end I will fail the test case. So if you just run this, what is the error? So you can say it has failed at line number 45. So this is our line number 45. Here it is failed, and it is saying that the following assertions are failed. First one is this, and the second one is this, right? So I can check that whether there is some issue in my test case, right? So this is how you can work with soft assertion if you want to execute your important code. So there is one more. There are many methods. So if I talk about this method only, so reverse of this one is shun dot result false. It is expecting false. If I provide true, then it will also throw the exception, but not at the point. So if I run this time, one exception, one error will come here, and two errors will come here. But even once I will provide this statement, it will throw the exception at the last only, so that this code will execute which I want, even if our test case will fail. So now you can see, first one is this, it has failed at the end, and this important code also executed. And second one is, it is expecting true inside. So it is saying I am expecting true inside, but I am finding false, right? So this is our second exception. And what is this third one? Expected false. I am expecting false inside my argument, but I am getting true. So this has also failed, right? So this is how you can throw multiple exceptions if you want to run your important code. You can throw, but using soft assertion. you can throw all the exceptions at the last, because it is necessary. Otherwise, if you do not provide this statement, suppose if you do not provide, what will happen? Your test case will not fail, and you will not able to know that there is some issue with the website, right? So this is very important. If you do not use this statement, no point of using this, because it will not fail here, right? So if you are using soft assertion, it is mandatory to use this at the last once your important code will execute, right? So program is terminated. This also the output. But how you will know that your test case will fail is failing at some point? So here you can use this statement, right? So once you provide this, it will fail. So basically there are two types of assertion. So what is assertion? If I talk about again, assertion is basically a verification point to check if our application is working correctly or not, right? So in the hard assertion, if I talk about two kinds of assertions are there. One is hard. If you use this hard assertion, so once you use hard assertion, if I write it here, once test case will fail at a point. Suppose it is failed somewhere, right? Next code offline will not execute at all, right? But if I talk about soft assertion, once test case test will fail, right, at a point, it will just verify and not fail. Test immediately, and next line of code will also execute, right? So this is basically, you can, depending on your project and whatever you want to achieve, you can use either hard and soft assertion. So this is basically a concept of assertion. And if you see this, there are so many methods, so you can explore. If I say assert, right? So there are so many methods, so you can explore these if you want, right? So this is the basic concept. We will see some other methods when we will come to our framework lecture. So this basic
Sir,
part is clear to everyone?
sir, assertion is a class in TestNG or what?
Sorry.
Is assertion a class in TestNG framework?
So if you see this, where it is coming from,
What?
if I write assert dot, not this one, dot, see it where it is coming from. It is coming from TestNG itself, right? It is a class. C stands for class. If you want to see what is the code, so for this method, so it is not showing. Yeah, basically it is a class that is coming from this one, TestNG. From that TestNG it is coming assertion tool class, right? So if you want to see, you can also see the code. Somehow it is not showing me. Okay, so it is showing. So you can see, right? So some classes coming like this, whatever you want to see. So basically it is coming from TestNG. Other, if you do not import TestNG, so it is coming from this package, whatever it is, TestNG. So this is a class and it is one method, right? So if you want to see the code, so it is a static method. So I hope you remember that if the method is static, we can directly call the method without creating the object. So this is the reason I am able to call from this class dot method, right, as it is a static method, right? So this is a how you can work with assertion. Is it clear to everyone? Is it clear to everyone?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So if I, so we will see some other methods when we will discuss our framework lecture. So meanwhile you can practice this all the so many methods are here, you can explore more. So hard and soft assertion we have did. So let us see one small thing. So if I go to google.com, Let me open Google. Okay, so please can anyone confirm me whether we have discussed this method get attribute in this lecture, in this class as of now?
Yes.
Yes.
Discussed already.
Yeah.
Yes, already discussed.
Okay, so what else? So here if I just right click here as well, if you see, if you try to get the text of this Google search, so if you use get text, you are not going to get this text because this text is present somewhere here. So basically you have to, if you want to get the text of this box, you have to use get attribute, this one, right? So already get attribute is discussed. So what else we can see? Uh, so if anyone of you have any doubt regarding XPath, CSS, they can ask. So that's we will see TestNG from uh, next lecture. Next in the sense next weekend lecture. So anyone have any query?
So, sir, what all topics are left? Like test engines left and Jenkins, I guess.
TestNG and page object, and Excel extend report. So for reporting, we will use this extend report in our framework, right? And Jenkins. These are the major topics which are left. And TestNG we have already written. So major topics are these one, and we will also see some other, right? Excel we have also done. So I think these are the major topics which are left.
So, Sumit, at the end, we will create the VDD framework. Huh?
We will
We will create VDD framework. No?
no, we will not create BDD framework. We will create framework which is of hybrid approach,
Which,
combination
okay.
of data driven plus uh, keyword driven. BDD is
Okay.
totally different.
Okay.
Okay, so let us see. Suppose if I search, hmm, if I say, okay, not this one. So we also see actions class as well. Okay, so if anyone of you have any doubt, you can ask. Otherwise, that's all for today.
Hello.
Yeah.
When course will be finished?
So around you can say
End of the Jan.
around 20 January, or might be before that, somewhere around 15 to 20 January 2021.
Okay.
So okay, so no,
Sir, is there any website from which we can do the live testing work?
there are many websites. If you Google that, you can add Selenium. There is one website which is this one. This is a very good website if you want to practice. So it will have so many elements. So if I talk about this checkboxes, if you click it, so you can select this. So this is not a very good. If I talk about some, so many things are there. If I talk about some good one, if I talk about Selenium, so if you want to practice, you can directly open this Amazon only, na? Because if you can practice on this, you can practice on this. So many websites are there. It is also better to practice here only.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so one more thing, let me discuss this. So basically, till now we are creating the XPath from this. Basically, there is one tool which is recently came into the market, which is Selector Sub. So the tool name is Selectors Hub, right? So basically, this tool is developed by Sanjay Kumar, right? So previously he developed CrowPath plugin as CrowPath as well, so that we can find our XPath and CSS, right? So now recently he has developed Selector Sub. So it is basically a very good tool. If you want to do some fast work, you can use this tool. So how we can do? So if you type here, first of all you have to get the plugin, Selector Sub plugin. So when you come to this, click this Selector Sub, and here you have to click on install, right? So I am already having it, so it will not show me again. So I am already having it, right? So you can see now 9,000 people are using this. It is very good tool, I can say. So once you will get this tool, you will see some icon like this, Selector Sub, right? And suppose if I am here, so if I, let me first open that in another browser. So if I click this, so here you will see this, right? So it is a free tool. So if you want to get the relative XPath, so we have created relative XPath many times. So you can check this. As of now, this checkbox is checked, absolute XPath, right? So if you find absolute XPath is very difficult to write sometimes, so you can check this box, and when you right click this, here you will find this. If you want to get this, copy the absolute XPath. Suppose if I want to get the absolute XPath of this, simply right click this one and this one. So if you see how it will look, so it is very big. So basically you should not use the absolute XPath because somehow if this will change, if this div will change to 2, so now your whole XPath will change, right? So it will fail. So basically you can use this tool, and if you want to get some other XPath, which is, I think you can do this relative XPath. So if I click this, and if I want to get the relative XPath of this text box, so right click relative XPath. So this is a relative XPath, right? So this we have created, I think, many times. This ID I remember. So you can use this tool if you. So, but I will suggest you first you should know how to frame. We have already seen that how we can create relative absolute XPath CSS, right? Because in interview you will, if interviewer will ask you how you can write the relative XPath, you will not going to say that I will use some tool, right? So you should also know. So when you are very confident on making XPath, sometimes you can also use this tool, so that you will save some time in your project, right? And some companies also will not allow you to install some third-party tool into your browser due to security reason. So might be your company will not allow. So you can use this if you want, right? So but you should also know how we can write our own XPath, right? So this is some brief introduction of this Selector Sub tool. Okay, is it clear?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Sumit,
Uh, yes.
hello. Yes, Sumit, regarding the assignment 3 yesterday I pinged you.
Which one?
So can I switch off to the class?
Not audible. Repeat again.
It's regarding the assignment 3.
What is the question?
Actually, when you select one, you go to the Amazon.in
Okay.
and in the search type 1, ONE. Yes, you will be getting a list of yeah. So thing is that I'm not able to capture the XPath for this.
This one.
Anything.
So right click and get the XPath. Is it disappearing? This is the reason.
Yeah, thing is that if I click on the inspect, right click and inspect, then I'm not able to capture. Yeah, I'm getting the same thing like
I
this.
think you have not seen the video, because in the video itself I have explained that how you can get if it is disappearing. So let me explain again. If
Yeah.
somehow it is disappearing, you can see the video where I have discussed this already, right? So in the previous lectures where we are dealing with the web elements. So come to sources. So right here, one, and press F8 from your keyboard. So if you press F8, now this is paused. Now you can simply get the XPath. It will
Oh,
not disappear. So
yeah.
yeah, whole it is present inside this. Now you can write the XPath. Here it is present one by one.
Okay, okay, fine.
Okay, so press F8.
Yeah, I missed it.
So here
And
it is.
okay, I
Okay,
got it.
okay. So you can try and
One
let me know.
Sumit, one more thing.
Hmm.
In the same thing, suppose if I select any of the mobile or something, okay.
Yeah.
Suppose I click on 1+8, some
Hmm.
anything. Yeah. If I want to match the amount, it is showing as a reference link.
If I suppose if I click this
Yeah,
one,
click.
which one amount? So you
Yeah,
can
so
capture this.
yeah, suppose it is 777. When I capture that, trying to capture, it's showing as a reference link.
This one 799.
Yes.
So 799 is present here. So if you write the XPath, get this text only.
Okay, so, Sumit, I will try
Okay,
helping you.
okay.
Thank you.
Okay, everyone. Thank you for attending today's lecture.
Hello.
Yeah.
Thank
Hello.
you, Sumit.
Okay.
Hello.
Yeah. Hello.
Sir, suppose we have to test something by two users. Then how we will handle this scenario? And test should be passed by both users. Then we can say the application.
You have to. You are saying that suppose if I,
I have to
uh,
test something by two users.
which me,
So
uh,
so we
so
will do login in application two times.
no, we will use when we will discuss TestNG. There is one TestNG concept which is data provider.
Mm-hmm.
So here what we will do when we will build our framework, I will take care of this. So with the help of data provider, suppose
Mm-hmm.
in my Excel sheet, I have written two user, right? I have written two user. So that
Yeah.
test case will run automatically for two times with the help of the data. So there we will discuss how we can run our test case according to our user, how many users we will create. So there we will see.
Okay.
So instead of writing the same code again and again, that is not a good idea. We will use data provider in TestNG.
Okay.
Yeah, Sumit. Yeah, hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sumit, how we automate CAPTCHA?
So CAPTCHA is not able. You cannot automate CAPTCHA with the help of Selenium itself, right? So if you want to automate CAPTCHA, you have to use some other. You can Google that.
Okay.
So it is OCR, which means it is some robotic process or RPA tool you are using, right? But Selenium will
Yeah,
alone not help you, right?
yeah, I think it is possible with UiPath, I think.
Yeah. So that is basically robotic process automation. So
Okay,
here
okay.
Selenium will not going to help you.
Yeah, okay, okay.
Okay.
And how we handle a file handling?
Sorry.
Just like file handling, it is possible with Selenium.
Yeah. Actually, you can handle the without Selenium itself. You can handle the file. Like you can get the file right with the help of Java. You can do. So we can see that in one of the lecture where
Okay,
we will
okay.
discuss. We will see.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So you do not need Selenium in handling the file.
Yeah, okay, okay.
Java itself can help you.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, everyone. So that's all for today. We'll see.
I have a doubt.
Yeah.
Hello, can you hear me? Yeah. Actually, I was trying to automate this GoIBO website, and I want to use the down key and then click on enter. So actually, the thing is, no, the issue is like my down key is keep on pressing and it is not pressing enter.
Keep on.
It is keep on going down, down and like rotating.
Can you share the code?
Just 2 minutes. I'll share my screen. Yeah. Are you able to see my screen?
No, you can share the complete code itself here in the chat. Then I will copy and check.
Okay. Yeah.
So this is the whole code? I don't think so. Only half code you have pasted.
Okay. I don't know why only half code is coming. Okay. Here is the next half code. Yeah.
Okay, so it is from. Can you only paste this public static void main code? I am confused. Which one it is?
Okay.
Only public static void main code, not all.
Okay.
So I think it is. Again, you have not pasted full code. I think. Thread to sleep.
Okay. Yeah.